British food is not everyone's favourite.
Full English breakfast.
Let's have some fish and chips.
I'll have fish chips and mushy peas.
They still cook as if Germans were flying overhead, and they conquered and raided so many countries in terms of spices that we really don't understand why they're some of the blandest in the kitchen. Comments on social media are mean when it comes to British cooking, and to be fair, food isn't really the main reason you go to the UK. So imagine my surprise when I found out that in Paris, of all places, one of the capitals of good food, some of the best up-and-coming chefs are British. And I want to know why their food is so bad in the first place, and what these chefs are doing to redeem a country known for beans on toast. Let's go.
British food is actually really nice.
I'm Elena, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. First things first, the question is, what even is British food? I reached out to David, the owner of Project Sausage.
Everyone knows us for our sausage roll, but we get through probably about 150 this week. I'm David John Kelly, chef, French Parisian trained, I guess. Been here for 16 years, and now I've opened Project Sausage, where we do British food. French ingredients but British food. They're done properly though. Homemade pies, sausage rolls, pork pies. Weekends we got our Scotch eggs and our Cornish pasties going.
What would you eat growing up?
Growing up, Jesus, it was like a lot of frozen food from Tesco's, beans on toast. Beans on toast are horrible. I'd have spaghetti. I'd have spaghetti hoops. A lot of chips. Vegetable-wise would be cauliflower only. Food was terrible when I was a kid, really, really bad. And I think that's kind of played a part in me becoming a head chef.
The kind of food David's talking about is easy to find, highly processed, and mostly comes out of a can. It's often explained as a question of geography and natural resources, and yes, that's part of the problem, but the real story is more complex and more interesting. It starts in Britain in the 17th and 18th century. Before then, food culture wasn't radically different than it was in the rest of Europe. People grew their own food and cooked it themselves. Then came the Enclosure Acts. Common land was taken away, small farmers were pushed out, and people started moving into growing towns. In the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution accelerated this process. People no longer lived close to where food was grown, entire families were out working, and progressively they lost the ability to cook. Meals became simpler and built around a few staples: bacon, potatoes, and onions. Then the 20th century made things even harder. The First and Second World War brought very strict rationing, which in Britain lasted a very long time. Food restrictions only ended in 1954, 9 years after the end of the war.
The last food on ration has been freed after 14 years.
By the time rationing disappeared, a whole generation had lost its connection to older food traditions. So by the time food came back, it did so in new forms: convenient, industrial, ready-made.
So when I was a kid, we had this neighbour who was a head chef at Ashridge. Come from like a really poor background, all our food was frozen, terrible. And I'd just peer over the fence and he'd have all these elaborate, what I thought was elaborate salads and stuff for his daughter and their family. And I just felt like I'd born in the wrong family in a food sense. And then when I left school at 16, I had like nowhere to go, no ambition, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I fell into a kitchen, and that was it.
David worked in London, then Australia, New Zealand, and all across Asia. He learned the trade alongside very famous French chefs like Alain Ducasse. He led some of the most interesting kitchens in Paris until something changed in 2020.
Like a sad story with my daughter. She got a disability, and she almost died so many times through like a 5-month period. And then after that, I realised actually I don't want to be cooking for all these other people that I don't know if I can't cook, beans on toast or spaghetti at home for my daughter. And being a dad was my dream, not being a head chef. I'm a head chef in Paris, which sounds glamorous, but it doesn't mean anything if I'm not dad. So that's how this project started. On day one, I never opened this for British people, I opened it for French people. Introducing what we do and doing it well and surprising French people that Brits can cook. And British food is actually really nice. Everyone knows us for our sausage roll. People say it's the best in Paris. I have to agree, because if it wasn't, I would change it.
These like a slightly fancier sausage roll. Sausage rolls are a huge part of British culture. Greggs, a very famous chain, sells 2.5 million of them a week. That's 140 million a year. But British food is much more than a sausage roll, and it's undergoing a big restyle that started in the 1990s. Until then, even school meals were less than ideal.
Half the time we didn't eat because we were poor. So I remember chips at school when the fries weren't clean, so bits of black in the chips. Food was pretty bad when I was growing up. I think my brothers ate badly at school as well. I remember like the whole campaigns and stuff like that, like the Jamie Oliver campaign and that. He's done really well with this.
Know what that is?
Jamie Oliver is a British chef that started off really young, cooking in his father's pub. And by his early 20s, he had launched a hit TV show. He made cooking cool, something unthinkable in 2002 Britain, getting men interested in cooking and teaching people how to use ingredients and think about nutrition. He got so famous that you're pretty safe to find one of his cookbooks in most UK households. This success allowed him to start the Feed Me Better campaign to improve the quality of food served in British schools. Now, he didn't start this movement on his own. Chefs like Rick Stein and Gary Rhodes had already been laying the groundwork years earlier. Long story short, this shift in thinking about food sparked a new interest in British produce and in foreign ingredients as well. This mix is basically what we call today modern British cuisine. It's pretty hard to pin down as a term and it's a bit vague, so what we're going to do is go and talk to someone who actually makes it.
This is brie and truffle croquettes with potato, something comforting and a little bit of a nod to classic cuisine. I'm Jack Baker, 31 years old from England, and this is Le Canard Sauvage. It's like basically cooked food that we want to eat in the kitchen, you know. It starts with the product, so like whether it's a game bird or a whole lamb, and then we use the vegetables that are in season. We take influence from Spain, Italy, obviously France and the UK. You already have the tarama, and it's like you're not gonna keep up there. I think for quite a while now in London, it's been it's changed, and you started to have like restaurants that have Michelin stars for like serving British food, and it's become quite cool, you know, like the British gastropub. And then I think in Paris, it's always been quite romantic for British chefs to come to Paris because, you know, France is the home of gastronomy. So you have like young cooks coming here, and they kind of brought a lot of that different cooking with them, you know, a lot of different influences and things like that.
Has it ever happened to you, not only here maybe, but also in the past sort of restaurants you worked at, that people were a bit surprised when they learned you were English?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it happens quite a lot. Yeah, and also when you're in a taxi and on the way home from work, and someone is like, the driver is like, "Oh, you're a chef, and you're from England," and they're very, very surprised.
Parfait, donc 3 croquettes, la tourte de lapin, ouais, et puis le canard sauvage. Okay. So this is the star of the show, the pie. It's sort of the biggest nod to British cooking that Jack does in this kitchen, and it can't get more traditional than this because it's a rabbit pie. Let's test this. Not your typical British food. It's amazing.
I think British food done very well and slightly more refined is definitely something that French people are interested in. The pies that we do here have been very successful.
Generally, I feel that the French cuisine has remained the same for a long, long time because it's bloody amazing, right? British chefs have to be more open-minded. All the spices and herbs and all the different flavours and ingredients that came in to the UK, which makes us much more open, I feel, to creating new dishes, to being a bit different from everyone else and not worrying about, like, it doesn't have to be the classic.